Do you notice how arrogance can turn any dialogue into a silent battle? That feeling of being trapped in conversations where words don't matter because the other person only wants to win, not to understand. In that moment, the mind grows tired, the heart closes and the doubt rises. Does silence have value? This pain is real and many people carry the weight of it every day, feeling disarmed before those who speak loudly but listen little. Here lies the promise. There is a different way to deal with this, a way to silence without arguing, using a force that doesn't shout but transforms. What if real power wasn't in winning arguments, but in choosing the right moment not to react? Imagine if your calm was the strongest answer you could give. Stoic philosophy teaches that serenity is the invisible weapon that disarms arrogance. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus showed us that self-control is always superior to impulsive reaction. And that is what you will learn today. How to use Stoic intelligence to silence arrogance without raising your voice. Stay until the end, because what looks like weakness is in truth the greatest form of power you can achieve. The power of strategic silence. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best answer to anger is silence." This simple, profound phrase reveals one of the Stoics' greatest secrets for dealing with arrogance. We often believe we must respond, prove our point, or show we are right. Yet in reality, the impulsive answer only feeds the fire. Silence, on the other hand, is like taking away the fuel. Arrogance loses strength when it meets no resistance. Picture a common scene. Someone at work tries to undermine your ideas with sarcasm. The natural impulse is to strike back, respond in the same tone, defend yourself. But that reaction creates an endless cycle of conflict. When you choose strategic silence, the dynamic shifts. The other person realizes they have no power over your emotions. That frustrates the arrogant, because what they seek most is to provoke and dominate. Stoicism shows us that silence is not weakness, but self-mastery. It proves you are not a slave to impulse. Instead of reacting, you observe, you understand, and you decide consciously if it is worth spending energy. This practice requires mental discipline, but it places you in a position of strength, because no one can manipulate someone who controls themselves. This silence is active, not passive. It does not mean hiding or accepting injustice, but choosing when and how to act. It protects your inner peace and preserves clarity. The arrogant may talk, mock, or try to humiliate, but when you remain serene, they exhaust themselves. Your calm becomes your invisible weapon. Once you master this practice, you change the game. You stop being reactive and start being strategic. The arrogant doesn't expect this, because they are used to instant resistance. When there is none, they lose control. And in that moment, you show, without a word, who truly has the power. If this has already opened your eyes, wait until you discover how a calm response can become even more powerful than silence. The calm response as an invisible weapon. Seneca taught, anger, if not restrained, is often more harmful than the injury that provokes it. This lesson is essential when facing arrogant people, because true strength is not in answering quickly, but in answering wisely. A calm response is not a sign of submission, but of emotional intelligence. It shows that you refuse to be dragged into the other person's game, and that alone disarms any attempt at provocation. Think about a heated argument. Someone unfairly accuses you in front of others, expecting you to lose control. If you respond with shouts or accusations, what people see is emotional weakness. But if you breathe deeply and reply with serenity, the perception shifts. Others see balance and clarity, while the arrogance of your opponent becomes obvious by contrast. Stoicism reminds us that no one has power over our mind without our permission. By choosing calmness, you protect your inner space, preventing someone else's anger from contaminating your peace. This posture shows that you not only control the situation, but also control yourself. It proves that your fortress is built within, where no one can trespass. A calm response also confuses the arrogant. They expect resistance, confrontation, uncontrolled emotion. When they are met with serenity, they lose the narrative. Their false strength collapses in front of your quiet firmness. Calm becomes a reflection of natural authority, which doesn't shout, but imposes itself. Responding calmly is also an exercise in discipline. It requires practice, patience, and the awareness that your goal is not to defeat the other, but to defeat yourself. Every time you hold on to serenity in the middle of chaos, you strengthen your mind, like a warrior training in silence. This is not passivity. It is strategy. It is power in its purest form. But there is one detail almost no one notices, and it changes everything. Arrogance cannot survive when you master your inner reactions. Mastering emotions means mastering the arrogant Epictetus declared, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This truth reveals that arrogance only has power when we give permission. If someone's words or actions spark anger, fear, or insecurity within us, it is because we have handed them control of our emotions. Mastering emotions does not mean refusing to feel them, but refusing to let them dictate your choices. This is the true shield of a Stoic. Picture an arrogant person trying to ridicule you in public. Your first inner reaction may be shame or rage, but when you observe these emotions without identifying with them, you regain command. It is as if you told yourself, "These feelings are here, but they will not decide for me." This shift in perspective transforms an attack into an opportunity to practice self-control. Stoic wisdom teaches that no one can wound your essence. They can only stir surface reactions. Once you understand this, arrogance loses its impact. The arrogant may attempt manipulation, humiliation, or pressure, but if you do not hand over your emotions, they cannot touch what truly matters, your inner peace. The arrogant feeds on the chaos of others, and when denied that fuel, they weaken. To master emotions is more than defense, it is a silent counterattack. You demonstrate that there is no ground for them to dominate. And this mastery is not external, but internal. The certainty that nothing can steal the balance of one who governs themselves. This disarms the arrogant and inspires respect in those watching. This self-mastery must be cultivated daily, in small situations, in traffic, during trivial arguments or moments of frustration. Each victory over yourself prepares you to face greater challenges with serenity. It is like training an invisible muscle that grows stronger with every exercise. Now that you know the why of emotional mastery, let's explore the how, using it as a shield against even subtler forms of arrogance. The shield of indifference. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone despises me, that's their problem. My only concern is not doing or saying anything deserving of contempt." This Stoic insight shows us that indifference is not neglect, but a shield against arrogance. When you understand that another person's opinion does not define your worth, no provocation can wound you. Indifference, in this sense, becomes silent power. It protects your energy and prevents others from dictating the course of your emotions. Picture this. Someone tries to belittle your achievements, minimizing everything you've worked for. If you react with irritation, you reveal dependence on external validation. But if you choose indifference, you communicate that you do not need their approval to move forward. The arrogant feeds on your reaction. Without it, they are lost in their own emptiness. Stoicism teaches that we should only concern ourselves with what is within our control, our actions, our thoughts, our choices. The arrogant's opinion does not belong to that realm of control, so it should be treated like the wind, something that passes without disturbing your inner fortress. This posture preserves peace and sharpens clarity. Indifference is not weakness, but maturity. It shows you know how to separate what matters from what is mere noise. While the arrogant fights for attention, you remain centered on what truly counts. This emotional distance elevates you to authority, because you refuse to be dragged into vanity's game. When you practice indifference, you create a space of freedom. No insult can control someone who simply refuses to recognize it as relevant. That unsettles the arrogant, who depends on your reaction to maintain the illusion of power. When there is no response, their mask falls and arrogance dissolves. And if indifference already feels like a powerful wall, imagine how self-control over your words can turn every dialogue into a silent battlefield where you always win. Self-control of words. Seneca advised, "No word should escape you without passing through the test of reason." This timeless counsel reminds us that when dealing with arrogance, words can either be weapons or shields. The arrogant expects you to lose control, to justify yourself endlessly, or to strike back with insults. But self-control in speech is the art of saying less while meaning more, speaking with weight, clarity, and calmness that no arrogance can match. Imagine a debate where someone openly mocks your opinion. Instead of diving into endless explanations or counterattacks, you choose short, steady, and composed phrases. A simple, "I understand your point," or "I see it differently," carries immense power when spoken with serenity. These words signal confidence. They show that your strength does not lie in the number of arguments, but in the stability of your presence. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control what others say, but we have full control over what leaves our lips. This awareness is liberating because it places the narrative firmly in your hands. By speaking less but with purpose, your words gain a gravity that exposes the hollowness of arrogance. The arrogant drowns in their own noise, while you rise through your calm restraint. Self-control of words also spares you from regret. How often has a thoughtless response cut deeper than the insult itself? The Stoic sage knows that each word carries the power to either build or destroy, and so they prefer to build, with silence or with phrases worth remembering. In doing so, you protect your peace and elevate your dignity before all. This discipline takes practice, but every time you pause your tongue and choose serenity, you step closer to true mastery. The arrogant loses their grip once they see they cannot provoke your speech. At that moment, you prove that whoever controls their words controls the entire situation. But there is a deeper layer still. It is not enough to master words. You must cultivate the inner clarity that gives meaning to every silence and every response. Inner clarity as a source of strength. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Inner clarity is what separates impulsive reaction from conscious response. When you know who you are and what truly matters, arrogance loses its ability to shake you. Clarity acts like a lighthouse within. No matter how turbulent the sea of provocation, you remain steady, guided by your own light. Imagine someone constantly questioning your life choices. Without clarity, you feel pressured, doubting yourself, seeking approval outside. But when you are grounded in your values and principles, such comments become irrelevant. The arrogant tries to confuse, but your vision stays sharp. This clarity sustains your strategic silence, your calm response, and your power of indifference. Stoicism teaches that clarity comes not from the outside, but from consistent reflection on what is in your control. By asking, "Does this depend on me?" you strip away distractions and focus only on what matters. That focus brings serenity, because you no longer fight useless battles. Where there is no inner confusion, there is no space for arrogance to enter. With clarity, you are freed from the need to prove anything. You do not need to win debates, to earn applause, or to answer provocations. Your life stops being a stage for the arrogant's eyes and becomes your personal journey of growth. This unsettles arrogance because it depends on an audience, and you are no longer part of the show. Inner clarity is therefore the root that sustains all other Stoic practices. Without it, silence may look like weakness, calm may seem fragile, and indifference may be misread. But with clarity, everything aligns into one truth, the mastery of yourself. And if clarity already lights your strength, wait until you discover how resilience can turn even the harshest attacks into fuel for your growth. Resilience in the face of offense. Seneca once said, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." These words remind us that we often carry the sting of offense far longer than we should, allowing it to weaken us. Stoic resilience is the ability to absorb the blow without breaking, to transform injury into wisdom, and to use arrogance itself as training for inner strength. Imagine someone spreading unfair rumors about you. The first impulse is outrage, the desire for immediate justice or to retaliate. But resilience shifts the perspective. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim, you see the situation as a test of character. The arrogant may try to stain your image, but they cannot steal your integrity. This vision lightens the weight of the offense and strengthens your ability to continue with dignity. Resilience is built by accepting that what happens outside is not yours to control, but how you respond inside is entirely yours. Each provocation that fails to shake you strengthens your mind. Just as the body grows stronger by lifting heavier weights, the soul grows resilient by facing challenges with courage. The arrogant thinks they're hurting you, but in truth, they're training you. Stoicism teaches that nothing external can wound the essence of the wise. Offenses, no matter how sharp, do not touch your true self. They only echo on the surface while your inner fortress stands intact. This understanding frees you from resentment or bitterness. Instead, you see each attack as an opportunity to practice mastery of the mind. Resilience is not passive acceptance, but active transformation of pain into power. By showing that no offense can bring you down, you inspire respect, even from those who tried to diminish you. The arrogant realizes they cannot control someone who rises stronger after every blow. And if resilience already proves powerful, imagine how self-discipline elevates your ability to silence arrogance without ever needing to fight. Self-discipline as invisible strength. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Self-discipline is the foundation that holds all Stoic virtues together. It is the daily practice of aligning your actions with your principles, even when the world pushes you toward imbalance. When facing arrogance, discipline becomes a fortress. You do not surrender to impulses, you do not waste energy on pointless explanations, and you do not hand over your power to those who provoke. Picture an arrogant person constantly testing your limits, trying to get under your skin. Without discipline, sooner or later you fall into the trap, respond poorly and lose control. But with discipline, every provocation becomes just another exercise in inner training. You decide where your energy goes, and the simple act of not yielding already marks a victory. Discipline keeps you steady, like a rock unshaken by crashing waves. Stoicism shows that true freedom comes from discipline. It may sound like a paradox, but by setting boundaries for yourself, you gain independence from outside attacks. When your mind is trained not to cave to chaos, no arrogant person can breach your fortress. You live in a state of inner order, untouched by the disorder of others. This discipline doesn't appear overnight. It is built in small habits, pausing before you speak, breathing before you act, reflecting before you decide. Each act of discipline is another stone in your stronghold. The arrogant may shout, provoke, or press, but when they meet a wall of serenity, they wear themselves out. With self-discipline, you not only resist, you inspire. Observers see that it is not weakness, but refined strength. It is a power that does not need to be displayed, because it shines through the consistency of your behavior. And if discipline already grants you mastery over yourself, wait until you see how emotional strength crowns this path, turning silence and calm into true authority. Emotional strength, silent authority. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The true strength of a man is in his soul, not his body." This phrase captures the essence of Stoic wisdom, emotional strength. While many mistake strength for aggression, Stoicism shows that true power lies in standing firm when everything around you seeks to shake you. Emotional strength is silent authority. It silences the arrogant without a single shout. Picture a meeting where someone mocks your idea in front of everyone. The expected reaction is humiliation or anger. But if you keep your composure, answering with serenity or even with silence, and the effect is different. Your calm radiates confidence. The arrogant's attack collapses because their cruelty cannot penetrate your stability. This is the invisible weight of emotional strength. It does not need to be defended, it is simply undeniable. Emotional strength comes from constant training in accepting what cannot be controlled and focusing only on what can. When your mind is fortified, no provocation has true power. The arrogant may throw words like stones, but they break against the wall of your resilience. This stance not only protects you, but also exposes the weakness of one who depends on attack to feel strong. Stoicism teaches that life will always bring trials, but each difficulty is an opportunity to grow. Emotional strength does not appear in calm seas, but in storms. By enduring provocation without losing peace, you prove to yourself that you are greater than any insult. That self-knowledge transforms into natural authority, one that does not shout but commands respect. When you unite strategic silence, calm responses, emotional mastery, indifference, self-control, clarity, resilience, discipline, and emotional strength, arrogance has no place to thrive. You become unshakable, a true example of mind's mastery and serene power. If these Stoic weapons have already opened your eyes, prepare for the final reflection that will show you how to turn this knowledge into a way of life. Do you remember the silent pain from the beginning? That feeling of being trapped in useless conversations, attacked by arrogance and believing your silence had no value? Now, through Stoic wisdom, that vision has changed. You have discovered that true power does not lie in shouting louder, but in mastering your mind, protecting your peace, and choosing with intelligence when to speak and when to remain silent. What once felt like a burden can now become your greatest strength. Stoic philosophy teaches us that you do not need to defeat others. You need to defeat yourself. The arrogant only has power when you hand over your emotions. But when you cultivate strategic silence, calm, discipline, and inner clarity, you become invincible. The world may try to provoke you, but no one can harm a person who has built their fortress within. This is victory that no external force can steal. And if you made it this far, you have already taken a powerful step toward transformation. Choose to live with wisdom. Choose the mastery of the mind over impulsive reaction. Choose to be an example of serenity in a chaotic world. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like and share this video so more people can awaken to this strength. And write in the comments, "I choose Stoic strength." This will show that you are ready to live with discipline, clarity, and silent authority.